Wife said, "From now on, you're the wife." I never thought my life would take such a bizarre turn. One moment, I was just an ordinary guy, Josh Miller, a 28-year-old freelance graphic designer, living in a cozy apartment with my wife, Emma. The next, I found myself trapped in a whirlwind of silk, lace, and secrets I never thought I'd have to keep. It all started on an unassuming Saturday morning. Emma was bustling around the apartment, preparing for a weekend trip with her best friend, Olivia. She had been looking forward to it for weeks, a little getaway from work stress, time to unwind, and, of course, lots of wine-fueled gossip. "Josh, can you hand me my pink suitcase?" she called from the bedroom. I walked in to find her sifting through her closet, pulling out dresses, skirts, and blouses, tossing them into the open suitcase, like she was on some kind of shopping spree. "Do you really need all of this for 2 days?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. She shot me a playful smirk. "A girl's gotta have options." Emma and I had been married for 3 years, and even though we had our ups and downs, I adored her. She was bold, confident, and effortlessly beautiful, everything I wasn't. Sometimes, I felt like the quiet shadow in our relationship, the one who blended into the background while she was the center of attention. "Okay, I think I have everything," she said, zipping up the suitcase. "You sure you're gonna be okay alone?" "Of course," I shrugged. "I might just spend the weekend gaming, ordering pizza, and being lazy." She rolled her eyes. Typical. Then, she leaned in, pecking my lips before whispering in a teasing tone, "Try not to miss me too much." Little did she know, I wasn't worried about missing her. I was worried about what I planned to do once she was gone. Emma had no idea, but for the past 6 months, I had been harboring a secret that started as a simple curiosity and had now become something much bigger, something I couldn't ignore. It began one evening when Emma was out late at a work event. I was putting away laundry when I stumbled upon a silky red dress she had worn to a wedding a few weeks prior. The fabric felt soft between my fingers, the way it shimmered under the light. It was mesmerizing. Almost instinctively, I held it up against myself in the mirror. It was just a joke, I told myself. Just curiosity. But that one moment led to another. And another. Soon, it wasn't just her dresses. It was her heels, her makeup, even her perfume. Each time she was out, I found myself drawn to her wardrobe, trying things on in secret, standing before the mirror, feeling something I couldn't quite explain. It wasn't just excitement, it was a strange sense of belonging, like stepping into a part of myself I had never known existed. And now, with Emma gone for an entire weekend, I finally had the perfect opportunity to take things further than ever before. As soon as Emma's Uber pulled away, I stood at the window, watching until the car disappeared down the street. My heart pounded, excitement bubbling in my chest. This was it. I turned back toward the bedroom, taking in the sight of Emma's walk-in closet, the vanity mirror, the delicate accessories scattered across her dresser. It was a world I had only dipped my toes into, but now I had the chance to dive in completely. The apartment was quiet, save for the soft hum of the air conditioner. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a golden glow over the room. It felt like a moment frozen in time, like I was on the edge of something I could never come back from. I took a deep breath and reached for the closet door. As much as I loved Emma, I had always felt a disconnect between us. She was the dominant one in our relationship, the one who made decisions, planned vacations, handled our finances. It wasn't that I was weak, but I had never been the assertive, take-charge kind of man she probably wished I was. She used to joke about it. "You're such a pushover, Josh," she'd tease, ruffling my hair. I swear, sometimes I feel like I wear the pants in this marriage. And maybe she wasn't wrong. Maybe that was part of why this secret of mine had become so enticing. When I wore her clothes, when I stood in front of the mirror painted in her lipstick, draped in her elegance, I felt different. I wasn't just Josh anymore. I was someone else. Someone softer, freer, more confident in a way I never was in my normal life. Maybe, in some strange way, I felt more like myself. But if Emma ever found out, would she see it as harmless curiosity? Or would she think I was betraying her, mocking her femininity, disrespecting our marriage? I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that for the next 2 days, I had a chance to embrace the side of me I had kept hidden for so long. And nothing was going to stop me. With Emma gone, the apartment felt eerily quiet. No background chatter, no humming from the kitchen, no clinking of coffee cups. Just silence, and the pounding of my heart. I stood in front of the closet, fingers trembling slightly as I reached for the door handle. The moment I pulled it open, I was greeted by the intoxicating scent of Emma's perfume, mixed with soft fabric and neatly arranged rows of dresses, blouses, skirts, and heels. For months, I had stolen fleeting moments to explore this hidden part of myself. Slipping into one of her dresses for a few minutes, experimenting with her lipstick before hurriedly wiping it off. But now I had the entire weekend, and I wasn't going to waste a second. I started carefully, wanting to savor the moment. First, the lingerie. I hesitated before reaching for one of Emma's lace-trimmed bras. It was black, delicate, and something I had admired on her countless times. Holding it up to my chest, I felt an odd mix of excitement and nervousness. I slipped it on, adjusting the straps, stuffing the cups slightly to give myself shape. Next, I chose a pair of silky panties that hugged my hips snugly. The sensation sent a thrill through me, so different from my usual boxers, so foreign yet right. Then came the dress. I pulled out the red one, the one that had started it all. The fabric whispered against my skin as I stepped into it, pulling the zipper up my back. It hugged my frame perfectly, cinching at the waist, draping over my chest in a way that made me feel undeniably feminine. I turned to the mirror, breath catching in my throat. There I was. Not Josh. Someone else. Someone who wasn't defined by rigid expectations of masculinity. Someone who felt beautiful. But I wasn't done yet. I moved to Emma's vanity, where an array of makeup products sat neatly arranged. I had never gone beyond lipstick before, but today was different. Today, I wanted to see just how far I could go. I started with foundation, hesitating before blending it onto my skin. It evened out my complexion, softening the sharpness of my jaw. Then, eyeshadow, a warm shade that brought depth to my eyes. Eyeliner was tricky. My hands weren't steady, but after a few attempts, I managed a passable wing. Mascara. Blush. A deep red lipstick to match the dress. And finally, the wig. Emma had a collection of them, mostly for fun. She loved experimenting with new looks. I chose a chestnut brown one with soft curls, placing it carefully over my hair. The moment it settled, I gasped. I looked real. Not like a man playing dress-up. Like a woman. A beautiful, confident woman. My heart pounded as I took in my reflection. The transformation was complete, but the excitement was laced with something else. Fear. What if someone saw me? What if Emma came back early? What if I got too comfortable, and suddenly, this wasn't just a secret indulgence, but something I couldn't stop? I pushed the thoughts aside. I had the entire weekend, and I wasn't going to waste it worrying. With newfound confidence, I strutted into the living room, the dress swaying around my thighs, heels clicking against the hardwood floor. The sensation was electric. Every step, every movement felt more natural than it should. I was about to pour myself a glass of wine when my phone buzzed. Emma. I froze. Had she forgotten something? Was she coming back? Hands shaking, I grabbed the phone and answered. Hey, everything okay? Her voice was cheerful. Hey, babe. Just wanted to check in. What are you up to? I swallowed hard. Nothing much. Just relaxing. That's good. I was just thinking you should do something fun this weekend. Maybe go out, treat yourself. I laughed nervously. Yeah, I'll think about it. After a few more minutes of small talk, she hung up. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. That was close. But as I set my phone down, another thought crept into my mind. What if I did go out? Not as Josh. As her. The idea sent a fresh wave of adrenaline through me. It was crazy, risky, dangerous. But it was also thrilling. And suddenly, staying inside didn't feel like enough. The idea wouldn't leave my mind. Standing in front of the mirror, dressed to perfection. I felt more like a woman than I ever had before. But was that enough? Could I really step outside? Even for a moment? The thought made my stomach churn with fear, but beneath that fear was something else. Temptation. I glanced at the clock. Emma was miles away, her trip just beginning. The likelihood of being recognized in public was slim. I could slip out for just a short walk, maybe grab a coffee or something. It was reckless. It was dangerous. But I had to know, could I pass? I took a deep breath, grabbed one of Emma's purses, and stepped toward the door. This was it. The final moment of hesitation. My hand hovered over the doorknob. Once I stepped out, I would no longer be in control. The walls of my apartment wouldn't protect me. People would see me. Would they know? Would they stare? Would someone say something? I swallowed hard, forcing my nerves down. You can do this, I whispered to myself. Then, with one final breath, I twisted the handle and stepped out. The hallway was empty. My heels clicked against the floor, echoing in the silence. Each step sent a fresh wave of nerves through me. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Reaching the elevator, I hesitated before pressing the button. What if someone was inside? For a moment, I considered turning back. This was already too much. Maybe I wasn't ready for this. But before I could decide, the elevator doors slid open. And my neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, was standing inside. My breath caught in my throat. She was an older woman, in her 60s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She lived just across the hall and had known me and Emma for years. If anyone could see through my disguise, it was her. For a split second, I froze. But then, something unexpected happened. Her eyes flicked up and down, taking me in, and she smiled. "Going out, dear?" she asked kindly. I forced myself to nod. "Why, yes." She gave me an approving look. "Well, you look lovely. It's nice to see a young woman putting in effort these days." I nearly fainted on the spot. I barely managed to whisper, "Thank you," before stepping inside the elevator. The ride down felt like an eternity, my pulse racing, my mind spinning. But if Mrs. Thompson hadn't suspected anything, maybe I was actually passing. Maybe this wasn't as impossible as I thought. When the elevator doors opened, a rush of warm evening air greeted me. The street was busy with people, couples, shoppers, groups of friends heading to dinner. No one looked twice at me. I took my first step onto the sidewalk, my heels clicking against the pavement. The world didn't stop. No one pointed. No one gasped. I was just another woman in a red dress. The confidence it gave me was intoxicating. I walked down the street, careful but deliberate. Every step made me feel more real, more alive. I stopped by a small cafe, my nerves still buzzing. Stepping inside, I approached the counter, half expecting the barista to see through me instantly. But instead, he smiled and asked, "What can I get for you, miss?" Miss. The word hit me like a bolt of lightning. I had passed. I gave him my order, keeping my voice soft and polite. The exchange felt surreal. When he handed me my drink, I could barely keep my hands from shaking. I took a seat by the window, sipping my coffee, watching the world go by. For the first time in my life, I wasn't Josh. I was her. And I never wanted it to end. The first closed call. I had been sitting there for about 20 minutes, basking in the moment, when I heard a voice that made my blood run cold. "Josh." My body went rigid. I turned my head slowly, my heart hammering against my ribs. Emma's best friend, Olivia, was standing right behind me. For a moment, my brain shut down. My body locked up. My fingers tightened around my coffee cup. This couldn't be happening. Olivia stood there, eyes narrowed slightly, her head tilted as if trying to make sense of what she was seeing. I scrambled for a response. Think. If I panicked, it was over. I forced a smile, pitching my voice softer. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" Olivia hesitated. Her brow furrowed. "Oh, sorry. For a second, I thought you were someone I knew." Relief crashed over me like a tidal wave. She wasn't sure. She was second-guessing herself. I had one chance. I chuckled lightly, waving a hand. It happens. I guess I have one of those faces. She smiled awkwardly. Yeah, I guess so. But she didn't leave. Instead, her eyes flicked to my face, then down to my hands, then back up again. Something was still bothering her. She was suspicious. I needed to get out of there. I reached for my purse, keeping my movements smooth, natural. Well, I should get going. Have a good night. I stood up. The moment my heels hit the floor, Olivia's expression changed. A flicker of realization. A spark of recognition. And then, wait a second. I stopped breathing. Olivia's eyes widened. She knew. I was caught. My stomach twisted. The cafe suddenly felt too bright, too crowded. Olivia's gaze was locked onto me now, her lips slightly parted in shock. I knew I wasn't imagining it, she whispered. I forced a laugh. I think you're mistaken. But my voice wavered. And Olivia wasn't stupid. She took a step closer, lowering her voice. Josh, is that you? Every instinct screamed run. But my feet were glued to the floor. Olivia's eyes darted around, making sure no one else was paying attention. What the hell is going on? I swallowed hard. Please, keep your voice down. She exhaled sharply, running a hand through her hair. Jesus, I can't believe this. I had two choices, lie or tell the truth. And judging by the look on her face, lying was pointless. I took a shaky breath. Olivia, please don't freak out. She gave me a wild stare. Don't freak out? I just ran into my best friend's boyfriend, dressed like this. What the hell am I supposed to think? I hesitated. It's complicated. She scoffed. No kidding. My heart was hammering. Look, I didn't plan for this to happen. I needed to explore this side of myself. Olivia's face softened just slightly. So, this isn't some weird prank. No, I said firmly. It's real. Silence stretched between us. Then Olivia did something I never expected. She smirked. Well, you actually look kinda hot. I blinked. What? She shrugged. I mean, if I didn't know you, I'd totally believe you were just another girl grabbing coffee. I didn't know whether to be relieved or terrified. Does that mean you won't tell Emma? Her smirk faded. That was the real question. She sighed. I don't know, Josh. This is a huge secret. I grabbed her hand. Please, Olivia. Emma can't find out like this. Let me tell her on my own terms. She studied me, lips pressed together. Then, after what felt like an eternity, she sighed. Fine. But you owe me. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. She crossed her arms. But if you don't tell her soon, I will. I nodded quickly. I promise. I will. Olivia exhaled. All right. But just so you know, she smirked again. You actually pull this off really well. I let out a nervous laugh. Thanks, I think. She grinned. Now, do you want to finish that coffee, or are you about to run out of here like a criminal? I hesitated. Then, against all logic, I sat back down. Because maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to run anymore. The rest of my time at the cafe with Olivia felt surreal. She kept sneaking glances at me, half amused, half fascinated. Every time I moved, adjusted my hair, or crossed my legs, she studied me like I was some kind of puzzle she was trying to solve. This is seriously wild, she muttered, stirring her iced coffee. I mean, you really went all out. I forced a small smile. I wasn't planning on running into anyone I knew. She smirked. And yet, here we are. I glanced at the time on my phone. It was getting late, and the initial rush of adrenaline was starting to wear off. My body ached from sitting so tensely, and my mind was racing with one overwhelming thought. Emma. It was only a matter of time before Olivia told her. Even though she promised to give me a chance to explain, I could tell she was struggling to hold this in. You look nervous, Olivia said, snapping me out of my thoughts. I exhaled slowly. Because I am. She leaned back. What's your plan? I hesitated. I don't know. She raised an eyebrow. So, what? You're just gonna keep sneaking around behind Emma's back. I swallowed hard. I wasn't ready to tell her yet. Olivia's expression softened just a little. Look, I don't want to be the bad guy here. But she's my best friend, Josh. And if she finds out from someone else, it's gonna be 1,000 times worse. I knew she was right. I was running out of time. By the time I got home, I was emotionally drained. I stripped off the dress, carefully removed my makeup, and tucked everything away before collapsing onto the couch. I needed to think. How was I going to tell Emma? What words could I possibly use to explain something even I barely understood? I ran a hand through my hair, closing my eyes for just a second. Click. The sound of the front door unlocking. My eyes snapped open. No. No, no, no. Emma wasn't supposed to be home until tomorrow. I barely had time to react before the door swung open, and there she was. Emma stepped inside, tossing her bag onto the floor. Josh. I'm back early. Olivia and I. She froze mid-step. Her eyes flicked to the coffee table. My heart stopped. My lipstick. My earrings. A stray high heel. I had forgotten to put them away. Her expression changed instantly. Josh. Her voice was slow, careful. What's going on? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She stepped closer, eyes scanning the items in front of her. Then she looked at me, and something clicked. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Were you wearing these? I swallowed. There was no point in lying. Yes. Silence. Emma's face was unreadable. Then, after what felt like forever, she let out a soft, disbelieving laugh. Wow. Okay. This is not what I expected to come home to. I could feel the panic bubbling inside me. Emma, She held up a hand. Just give me a second. She sat down, staring at the items on the table like they were evidence in a crime scene. I shifted nervously. I never wanted you to find out like this. She let out another small laugh, but this one was tinged with something else. Hurt. Well, I did. Guilt twisted in my stomach. I was scared, Emma. I didn't know how to tell you. Her gaze flicked up to meet mine. So, what is this, Josh? Is this some kind of fetish? A joke? Or is it more? I hesitated. I don't know. And that was the truth. I wasn't sure what this part of me meant yet. All I knew was that it felt right, but I didn't have the words to explain why. Emma sighed, rubbing her temples. God. I need a drink. She stood up and walked to the kitchen. I followed cautiously. She poured herself a glass of wine, took a long sip, then finally turned to me. Okay, start from the beginning. I took a deep breath, and I told her everything. About the first time I tried on her dress, about the way it made me feel, about tonight at the cafe, how Olivia found out, and how terrified I was of losing her. When I finished, Emma was quiet for a long time. Finally, she sighed. Jesus, Josh. I'm sorry. She looked at me, her expression unreadable. Are you happy when you do this? I hesitated, then nodded. Yeah. I think I am. Emma studied me carefully. Then, to my absolute shock, she smirked. Well, you're lucky you have good taste. I blinked. Wait. You're not mad? She sighed, swirling her wine glass. I don't know what I am yet. She looked at me again. But I do know one thing. I held my breath. Emma leaned in slightly, her smirk growing. If you're going to keep wearing my dresses, we're going shopping. Because my clothes aren't always going to fit you. I stared at her. Wait. What? She took another sip of wine, looking way too amused. Josh, if you're going to do this, we're doing it right. I was speechless. Emma smirked. From now on, you're the wife. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had spent months terrified of Emma finding out, convinced she would leave me, that she would hate me for this. And instead, she was leaning into it? Emma grinned at my stunned expression. What? You didn't think I'd be boring about this, did you? I shook my head slowly. I just don't understand. She laughed. Josh, I married you because I love you. This is weird, yeah. But I'd rather figure it out together than have you sneaking around behind my back. I swallowed hard. So, what happens now? Emma shrugged. That's up to you. I stared at her. The weight of everything that had happened tonight pressed down on me. Did I want to keep hiding? Or did I want to embrace this, whatever this was? Emma smirked, swirling her wine.
Well,
I took a deep breath. And I smiled. Let's go shopping. Emma's words echoed in my head. From now on, you're the wife. I couldn't breathe.
couldn't think.
My body was frozen in place. She said it so casually, like this was just another conversation. But her smirk, her eyes full of something unreadable, they told me otherwise. She meant it. My voice barely worked. What do you mean? Emma sipped her wine, tilting her head. Exactly what I said. My heart pounded. Emma, this isn't a game. Her smirk widened. Oh, but isn't it? I felt my stomach tighten. She set her glass down and took a step closer. Let me get this straight. You've been sneaking around behind my back, wearing my clothes, my lipstick, pretending to be someone else, and I was supposed to just what? Ignore it. I swallowed hard. I wasn't pretending to be someone else. She let out a low laugh. Oh, but you were. She stepped closer. My back hit the kitchen counter. Emma leaned in, her voice soft but sharp. The problem is, Josh, I don't think you even realize who you really are anymore. I stiffened. That's not true. She raised an eyebrow. Isn't it? I opened my mouth, but no words came out, because deep down, I didn't know. Emma watched me carefully. Then, she sighed dramatically and straightened.
Well,
if this is what makes you happy, I guess I have no choice. I blinked. No choice.
she grinned.
If you want to be the wife so badly, I'll make sure you really feel like one. Something about her tone made the hair on my arms rise. Emma picked up her phone and typed something. Then she turned it around and held it up for me to see. My blood ran cold. On the screen was a photo of me, dressed in my outfit from earlier, at the cafe. She had a picture of me. My stomach dropped. How did you? She chuckled. Olivia sent it to me. I was going to kill Olivia. Emma smirked at my horrified expression. So now, my dear husband, you have two choices. She took a slow step forward. One, you can tell me everything. No more secrets. No more sneaking around. No more hiding. And maybe, just maybe, I'll keep this between us. I swallowed. And option two? She smiled sweetly. I send this to everyone we know. My entire world tilted. My breath came in shallow gasps. You wouldn't. Emma cocked her head. Wouldn't I? She wiggled the phone in front of me, her thumb hovering dangerously close to the send button. My heart pounded against my ribs. My entire body was screaming. Was she serious? I stared into her eyes, searching for some hint of mercy. Some sign that this was just a bluff.
But Emma?
Emma didn't bluff. She smiled. So, what's it gonna be? And that's when I realized I had no way out.